Welcome, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Teddy Mack Show. First, I want to thank all of you for your support, for tuning in and supporting the message. I know I haven't been consistent as I should be, but that would change for 2025. I'm setting up my format now. But just want to let you know, thanks for supporting the channel. Slowly but surely, it's growing. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment, interact with the channel. Moving forward, I'll be making changes, like I said, for 2025. I'll be scheduling shows on certain days, and I'll be here on those certain days to drop the content. Also, I'll be featuring guests. We'll be doing panels, interviews of various people on various topics. And just to let you know, the platform will be covering a whole bunch of different stuff. So you may hear me talk about politics. You may hear me talk about family, which is basically, I'm going to be talking about family, relationships, women. Yeah, women. So if you don't like the truth told about women, or you know, one of them sensitive people, this is not going to be the channel for you, because you're going to run your blood pressure up messing with me about talking about women. And it's not to dog anybody. It's just the truth. These are the ugly truths that everybody turned a blind eye to, that we really need to take more notice of and try to make some changes, because the current behavior is just destroying us as a people. Now, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. Of course, you know by now I wrote some notes. Okay, so that's okay. Since we got that out the way, because I read that, so I'm not really good at all this scripted stuff. I usually talk from the top of my head. But I had one topic for the day, but I'm gonna abandon that, because I was watching something this morning that really disturbed me, and I really want to share it with you via a reaction video. This goes right here directly to what my point is about women. Y'all need to wake up. The court system is got you down bad. You know, you think you're winning, but you're not. Who's really winning is the court system, and who's really losing is your families, your kids, you. You know, everything sound good and look good, you know, when you think you're winning, but you're getting finessed. So this is a guy that I follow, Nick Frias, and he's a pretty solid guy. So I just want to share this video with you that I was watching this morning, and we'll let them speak and we'll get back.
There's a federal law called Title 4D. It was passed in the late 1970s. This is the cause of the divorce explosion in the 1980s and the creation of, there were no family courts in the early 1980s. They didn't exist. They were created specifically because of Title 4D. Title 4D provides for matching funds for the collection of child support. So I don't know about Virginia, but I know about Texas. In Texas, it's $500 million. It's $480 to $520 million per year. The more child support that's issued, the more money the state gets in reimbursements. The more it collects, the more it gets in reimbursements. The entire Texas Attorney General's office is funded by the child support collection matching funds from Title 4D. In Texas actually has a law in the Texas Government Code which requires all judges to rule in cases in such a way to maximize Title 4D reimbursements.
Wow.
Before anything is heard in case. This explains a lot of peculiar things in family court. Family court's known for giving custody to the dysfunctional parent, and they just do it consistently. They do it all the time.
Okay, did you hear that? Did you hear that? This is what I talk about all the time. They keep giving the custody to the women because they know the women are dysfunctional. The women don't want to admit they're dysfunctional because they have no accountability. And society and everybody who has something to gain and nothing to lose tell her that she's doing a great job, knowing she's losing everything around her. You know, it's time to stop with this foolishness, ladies. I mean, Black men haven't really owned and controlled anything. This whole society has never been controlled and owned by men, by black men. So what's your beef with us? Why you keep getting gassed up and letting these people put a battery in your back, making you think that the best thing to do is to break your family up and leave your kids with no father around? It's ridiculous. And we're going to see who really benefits from this.
I watched a case ahead of mine one time, and they gave 2 children back to a heroin addict mother who had successfully passed the drug test after 15 days for the first time.
Oh my God.
Okay.
What was the
Why
alternative?
would they do that? That makes no sense, right? Everybody goes, nobody in their right mind would do things like, why do they do it? Here's why they do it. The state knows full well it will never collect child support from a heroin addict.
Oh.
And all that matching money, they don't get it.
Got it.
They know that the responsible parent will bankrupt themselves to protect their child and to take care of their child, and they'll get all the matching money for that. So the decision in family court doesn't come down to, are you a fit and willing parent? If that were the case, then in 99% of the cases, you would have both parents getting 50-50 custody because both parents are fit and willing, right? Most abuse is actually much rarer than we think, right?
Yeah.
So abuse and neglect, those are 2 ends of the spectrum, right? So what they do is they say, which person here will give me the maximum Title IV reimbursement for the state?
Wow.
And that's the person who loses custody so that they pay child support. That's the real calculation that's going on. You mentioned CPS, and if you're looking at laws around this, you need to know about Title IV-E. Title IV-E gives reimbursements for taking children. So when the state takes a child from a family, they get a Title IV-E reimbursement just like Title IV-D.
Man, I hate to stop this, but listen to this evil. Listen to this level of evil and family destruction. And you all keep voting for the Democrats, and they are the ones who support and create this whole climate for this. Republicans are for family. Democrats, look at the black family, look at the ghetto, look at the hood, look at how broken that is. That's a microcosm for the Democrat. We need to get back on track, people, straight up. This Democrat stuff, you've been finessed. You're not getting nothing out of this. Nothing out of it. All the years you've been voting for, you're getting nothing, 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 nothing. A big fat effing zero out of it. Nothing. Nothing. Destructive families. The courts are flooded. The jails are flooded because of single mothers and this dumb stuff in the Democrat Party. If y'all could not see what's really going on with them in this last election, something wrong with you. Because the only thing that woman gave you was abortion, destruction of your family. And y'all backed this woman up, and she was given to you. She was not voted for by anybody. But she's history. She's out of here. She's a big fat zero. She need to worry about getting together about $30 million to cover her ass of all the money that she screwed up. Now listen to this level of evil right here.
Here's how it works in Texas. You'll get a satellite office in a rural county of Texas that's running low on budget. They'll look for a child to low IQ parents, under 18 months of age, but they'll go as high as 2 with no medical problems, and they'll go and take their children. They usually do it through subterfuge. They do a well check, and they bring along an extra party that they don't tell the parents are a psychologist. Mm-hmm. The psychologist, unbeknownst to them, is doing a psych eval and recommends taking the children. They take the children. Within 6 months, the child is adopted out, and that satellite office gets $250,000 in budget money. So there's financial incentives to take children. There's financial incentives to take fathers out of the home. So as a legislature, you have to ask yourself, how do you change the incentives in the bureaucracy? Well, I will submit to you that this is, if you look at the total money in all the states, this is as large as some of the largest defense programs.
Yeah.
And we've never successfully cut a large defense program. That's
well,
never happened.
And I can tell you right now, the political palatability of the only way this is going to be discussed, there will be no level-headed discussion like we're seeing taking place, right? It will be this idea that you just don't want women to be able to leave abusive situations, or you don't
Right.
want children to be able to get the proper child support they need. Like, you just don't want
Right.
that. You're the deadbeat dad supporter. And the problem is, this is always the problem with government trying to fulfill certain functions within society for which it was never
Mhm.
truly designed to do. And it's these sort of second and third order effects that we don't get.
Yes.
Is that it sounds great. It really, I mean, think about this on a 50,000 foot level. It sounds great to say, well, of course, we're going to provide funding to, let's say, a smaller jurisdiction, a poorer jurisdiction
Mhm.
that doesn't have the resources to be able to intervene and to be able to get a kid out of a dangerous situation,
Right.
or ensure that children are financially supported by a parent that should be paying child support. It makes perfect sense if you're assuming that this is always going to be operated the way it was intended and only for the
Right.
purposes that it was intended.
That's
Because
right.
what you've actually done, and we see this with other welfare programs, what you've actually done is incentivize the state to now engage in certain activities.
Mhm.
and
That's right.
and we've seen this with COVID spending, we've seen it with welfare
Mhm.
spending, we've seen it with everything else. You're not just getting the reasonable use case scenario, you're creating a
No,
perverse incentive.
that's right.
Okay, so
If you ever want to know why young men are not marrying, I
oh
speak
yeah.
to young men all the time. I get invited to speak to masculinity conferences and so forth. Um, this is what they tell.
Listen to this, y'all. This is sad. This is freaking sad. Listen to what this man is about to tell you about how men think about marriage right now. And women wonder why men don't want to marry them no more. They wonder why men don't want to marry them no more.
Me. They go to church and they get cajoled to get married.
Mm.
They're told that it's their duty, it's their God-given duty. The problem is they have actually witnessed their father's lives become totally destroyed. I talk to lots of young men. They're like, my father lived out of a car for 6 months.
Yeah.
Because the court took.
I could, trust me, I feel this pain on that.
Look, I don't think people understand the impact of child support. So, in Texas, if you have 2 kids, they're going to take 30% of your gross pre-tax income. Okay, most businesses could never survive confiscation of 30% of their pre-tax revenues.
Oh yeah.
They would just go out of business.
Yeah.
I've done the numbers. If in Dallas County, based on cost of living, if you make less than $45,000 a year, you cannot rent a home. You're left with about $800 a month to live on. So it doesn't work. Second thing is, you don't get to deduct that money as childcare expenses. Like, that's one area where you could make it back up, as if you had a deduction or a credit. Actually, the mother that you pay gets to deduct it as childcare expenses, not you.
You hear this?
Okay. Yeah. So that's the first thing. And the second.
Do you hear that BS? I mean, I've known it for a long time. I've seen it. I've seen it go down. The woman gets the tax deduction, and you the one paying. And y'all mean to tell me that you all are comfortable with the way things are going now? That's why women keep voting Democrat, because this is part of the Democrat plan. Anti-family. Anti-family.
Second thing is, like, for example, I've been for 11 years, I have had to submit all of my expenses. Like, every credit card expense, every cash expense is scrutinized by an attorney, by an accountant, and by the judge in court, because they want to see if they can get more child support from me.
Yeah.
You permanently lose all financial privacy. I have been told by a judge I had to file a motion to try to change jobs.
Wow.
Because it paid me $10,000 a year less, but made it more geographically convenient for me. The judge said, no, you cannot change jobs.
Wow.
So you lose all of your freedoms once you get into divorce court if you're designated as the one who pays the child support.
Yeah, no, and I've seen this before too, where it's like the positive use case scenario of this is you have somebody that kind of manipulates the system or leaves a job temporarily in order to get a lower rate requirement for child support, and then immediately gets a higher job or whatever it is, right? Like there's the system can be gamed either way, but you're
Definitely.
right. It creates this perverse incentive. Well, and I'll tell you this, I'm a huge marriage advocate, right? I am a ton of my content is about the importance of marriage, the necessity of marriage in society. Yeah. But you're not wrong that here's I'll I'll put it to you the most crass way it was put to me. Nick, please explain to me why I should risk getting married so the government will pay a woman to leave me, take my kids, and I can spend the rest of my life to pay my ex-wife to sleep with another dude.
That's exactly what. That's exactly what. And that's exactly what young men tell me.
Yeah.
So this, and remember, married people vote Republican.
Yeah.
So when young men decide not to get married, you're increasing the number of Democrat voters out there.
A free people should not be entirely dependent upon somebody else to be able to provide.
Okay, we hear that. Ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And I screwed up right there. I'm new to using this StreamYard stuff, but I'll get the hang of it. Well, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I'm not going to even say a lot about this. I'm gonna see what the temperature of the room is. I'm gonna see where people heads at with this situation right here, because this is utterly ridiculous. Like I said before, like, share, subscribe, comment. I'll see you again. Peace.